Welcome back. So, the fall sale, the autumn sale, whatever you wish to call it, is upon us. It'll be running from October 29th. Hey, look, that's today. Who would have thought? Until November 4th. However, this is specific to the Gaijin Net store. This is not anything in-game for gold, nothing like that. So I don't think this is the full anniversary sale yet, but this is probably part of it. So just to show you I'm not like full of shit. If you look at the in-game, if you look at research, as you can see, there's some things that are on sale. The things for, real-world buckaroos and not things that are available for gold. If you remember last year, pretty sure all the Battle Pass weapons went on sale, all the Battle Pass vehicles went on sale, all the squads went on sale, so we may see something like that happen again. We may not see something happen like that again. We'll just have to wait and see. But as for now, it's strictly store page stuff. And if we go there, we can take a look at what's available. And, I'll briefly go through what I think is worthwhile. Some of these are like recent acquisitions for myself. Some of them are not. Most of these that are available that I have are things that I've had for some time. The Guerrilla Squad, for example, they are not included in this. The only two things that I personally grabbed in this were the Type He paratroopers for the Japanese and the Soviet SVD-30 squad. But we'll go through them. So I guess we'll just go top to bottom. You've got the Winchester G30R squad. I don't personally have them. They seem neat. They're an engineer squad. It's 1 radioman and 4 engineers. They're one of the more modern engineer squads, and at $15, they're probably not a bad pickup when you're starting out with America. I want to say that they're BR3, but, I can actually look in-game. Maybe I can't look in-game. But anyway, I'm pretty sure they're BR3. I'd be surprised if they weren't, because the G30M squad should also be BR3, or I guess these are BR2, huh? Well, maybe they're BR2. I don't know what they are. I would like to be able to preview them, but, obviously I cannot do that. Most of the squads you'll be able to actually preview in-game if, you're interested. You can just go in and try them out or whatever. So I'm a little bit surprised that I can't with them. Regardless, as an engineer squad, you're going to be able to build all the things: AT guns, machine guns, spawn points, ammo, barriers. You get the idea. Since this is one of the more modern ones and they're actually a 5-man squad, a lot of old engineer squads are 4-man, and since they actually get a radio operator, they're decent. They're not exactly the highest value to me, but they're not bad. They're not something that I personally feel like I would ever need, but if I was a new player, they probably wouldn't be terrible. Moving on from them, we have one of the higher value squads, and we can actually cover all of these together. We have the 1928 A1 Thompson squad for the Americans, the Krivkov FG squad for the Germans, and the Type He LMG squad for the Japanese. The Japanese ones are actually BR4, which is, I guess, a little bit interesting, but the other ones are BR5, and BR5 is basically top tier. They're paratroopers. Top tier paratroopers are usually pretty good. They offer you a lot of flexibility as they can deploy anywhere on the map, anytime, basically instantly. It takes them maybe 10 seconds to get from their plane to the ground. And once you're there, you get a box that drops with you. That box can offer you an assault kit, an engineering kit, a sniping kit, and I'm blanking on what the last one is. Anyway, so these guys, for example, they'll get one kit that has, I want to say they updated them to have sniper grants, but they might still have the old bolt action snipers, but it's like 2 snipers and a radio operator. They have one that's like 3 BARs. They have one that's like 2 mortars and an engineer, and then the last one's AT. So they'll have everybody gets AT mines, and the first 3 guys get bazookas. So you get the idea. Um, they're pretty good. I think a lot of people prefer them because of their Thompsons with their 100-round drums. Personally, I think I prefer the Krieghoff squad. Um, I think it's because all of their weapons feel like useful and complementary to me, whereas the Americans feel less so. Like I wouldn't normally take the assault kit on the Americans because the Thompson's already really good, whereas the Krieghoff, I can see the use more for the MG42 versus the FG, but teach his own. I will put out a Type PA review once I play with them a bit. I haven't played with them a whole lot, but I mean, they're Type PAs, right? So you've got them in the tech tree. They're already good. Now these are Type PAs that have like a bipod, a gun shield, and a bayonet. Like I'm sure that rifle weighs a ton, but I mean, they're also essentially top tier Japanese paratroopers. So I can't imagine that they're going to be bad. The MG42 early, by the way, most of these squads that we're covering, I do have videos out discussing. The MG42 early is my go-to and my preferred machine gun squad in the game. Basically, all machine gun squads are inherently high-value premium squads, in my opinion, because they maintain their value. In the case of the MG42 early, well, in the case of all machine gun squads, it's because you get 5 machine guns in a squad where normally you can only get 3, but you're giving up specialists and you're giving up like 2 soldiers to do that. But it's a lot of firepower. Now, in the case of the MG42 early specifically, you're getting 2 engineers and 3 machine gunners, but the engineers also use machine guns, which makes them kind of unique, but it gives you some depth. So if your first machine gunner goes down, or your first engineer goes down, you're still able to build the heavy machine gun. You're still able to build spawn points, ammo, whatever, right? And being MG42 earlies that shoot at a ridiculous fire rate, you do need to build ammo boxes fairly frequently. So moving on from there, there's the LVT-4 squad. It's the American APC squad, and we can kind of group all of these together as well. So there's the LVT-4 for America, there's the M3A1 for Russia. There should be an SD KFZ for Germany and one for Japan. I just don't know if they're available right this second. I don't think they are. But theoretically, if they were to go on sale in the future, they all basically are the same as these. So effectively, what you're getting is a transport, and that transport is somewhat armored. They're all open topped, so all of them can get a grenade in there or a Molotov in there, and you can wipe out the squad pretty easily. But in the tech tree, you can get a truck, and that truck is pretty good as a mobile spawn point. These are a little bit better because they're armored, so they're still pretty easy to kill, but they're a little bit harder to kill. They also are armed, so they actually have machine guns on the roofs. In the German case, it's like a MG42. In the German and the American case, they're 50 cals, so they can be substantial firepower. You also, in my opinion, get a better squad composition with them. If we look at my American lineup in game, for example, I have them on. So you get up to 2 assaulters, up to 2 machine gunners, up to 1 AT soldier, and you can take a radio operator instead of any of those positions, and you have to take the driver. And the driver basically acts like an assaulter. The nice thing with them is that they're BR2, but you can effectively play them at any BR because you can go through them and swap out their weapons for anything that you want to put on them. So they scale well, and like the machine gunners, that gives them more staying power in your lineup. So if you're a BR1 player who just started the game, you can pick these up. Going up to BR2 isn't going to be a significant difference, and it's something that you can play with from the very start of your enlisted career all the way through to the end, and I regularly put it on my lineups. Like if I'm playing at BR5, I usually bring one of them, Sometimes at like this lineup I bring 2. And even when I swap from, say, a BR5 lineup to a BR3 or a BR2 lineup, oftentimes I'll swap out the equipment on these gents, and I'll bring them anyway, because it's just a fantastic squad. You can also now deploy them without their APC, which is amazing, because there's a limit to how many APCs your team can have out at a time. And to be honest, the squad composition is fantastic. It's 6 dudes. It's almost like a little, like, special forces team, right? Because normally you have kind of specialized squads. Like if you play assaulters, right? You have like 4 assaulters and then you've got some specialists. Or if you play riflemen, you've got like a 9-man rifleman squad. Or if you play like guerrillas, you've got all guerrillas. Paratroopers, you've got all paratroopers, right? Like they're normally fairly specialized. These guys give you the adaptability and the variety to cover all of your bases in like a well-sized, concentrated squad. Like they're not small, like a 4 or 5-man premium squad, but they're also not huge like a rifleman squad. They're kind of right in the middle, and that makes them fit well even amongst tech tree squads, because even most tech tree squads are like 7 dudes. So I like them. I think that by far, if you're only going to pick up one squad, I would probably go with these guys, just because they're the most adaptable and they're going to scale the best. Specifically, if you're playing America or Russia. Like I said, the Germans and the Japanese, I believe, are for gold, so they are not currently on sale. But you never know. In the future, I'm sure that they will be. Moving on from there, we have the Calliope. The Calliope is very popular amongst my friends. I don't have it, but a lot of them do. In Modern Enlisted, you do have the unfortunate fate of being tiger bait. And what I mean by that is you're going to run into a lot of high BR German tanks, because German tanks are extremely popular. And you're going to run into BR4 Panthers, the BR4 Tiger, or BR5 Tiger 1s and 2s, and all of them are going to eat you. They're going to absolutely destroy you. But when you don't run into them, this thing is unbelievably cool. I've driven my friends after they've gotten decrewed before, and basically you're just rolling rocket artillery. If you see an objective, you can saturate it with fire and just obliterate the area. And they sound amazing when they're on your team, having the rockets go over your head. It's a really, really cool vehicle. It's probably not the most competitive or the best vehicle, and it's going to be really dependent on the team that you play into and the team you play with. Like, if your team's not defending you, you're not going to be able to put yourself in the positions that you want to be in. Likewise, if the other team is playing their anti-tank game well, if they're spawning lots of tanks, you're going to have a difficult time. But as a tank that is designed to be anti-infantry, it excels in that role. Moving on from there, you've got its counterpart. Well, actually, it's got 2 counterparts now. You've got the Sherman Firefly and you've got the Achilles. They're going to be similar but different. The Sherman Firefly is probably going to be your most competitive American premium tank in the game. It does get an APDS shot, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's APDS, but if it's not, it's just basic hypershot. But the point here is that it can punch through Tiger 2Hs, and if you're getting into top tier America and you want a tank that can go head to head with Tiger 2s, you're going to probably be disappointed by every American tank. However, the Firefly is probably the closest you can get to what you're looking for, because it's got a gun that can just punch through the Tiger 2. There is no American tank that has the armor to stand up to the German 88. That's just a fact of playing the Allies. Like, your armor is powerful situationally, but you have to play smart with it. And I think that this tank kind of excels in that. Like, it's relatively mobile. It's got a good gun with a ton of firepower. It's not going to be the best at anti-infantry, but it's going to be good enough. And really the benefit here is that you're getting a premium tank that can take out Tiger 2s. Now, alternatively, you can choose to look at the Achilles. The Achilles is basically going to be the same thing, except it's going to be slower and it's going to have worse armor. I'm almost certain that it's slower. I've never seen one move particularly quickly in game, and to be fair, I don't see them a whole lot to begin with. Now, your BR4, which is nice, you are, down a BR, and you can punch through everything that the Firefly could, but now you're open topped, so you're going to be vulnerable to Molotovs and grenades and people shooting down into your tank. Um, in my opinion, if you're looking at the Achilles, I would just get the Firefly. I don't realistically think that the Achilles is worth picking up, but maybe you really like playing at BR4, and then maybe you do want it. I just don't think that the drawbacks of the Achilles are worth playing at BR4 over the Sherman Firefly at BR5. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe BR4 doesn't match into BR5 as much as I think it does, but I feel like you're always playing against BR5 anyway, so do with that as you will. I suppose if you're fighting the Japanese instead of the Germans, you might have a better experience with the Achilles. I still think the Firefly is going to perform better because I think it's a more mobile tank, and I feel like it can deal with the difficult terrain in the Pacific better. But if maybe you're a diehard AT fan, and if you really like AT guns, maybe the Achilles is for you, but it's not for me. Um, Moving on from there, the STG 45 squad is a premium BR5 German squad. A lot of people will tell you that it's not that great because the fire rate on the STG 45 is kind of low. Um, we can probably find it in game. I assume it's going to be listed down at the... No, I guess it's not listed at the bottom. Let's see. Alright, so this is an unupgraded one because unfortunately that's just the way this view goes, so just remember the fire rate's going to be like 15... No, actually, does the fire rate change? No, I guess on assault rifles it doesn't. SMGs it does. So, this is basically your STG-45. It's going to hit a little bit harder, and it's going to be a little bit more accurate, but as you can see, it's shooting at 450 rounds a minute, and that's really the kicker why most people don't seem to care for it. By comparison, if you were to look at an STG, the STG shoots significantly faster. So they're shooting at like 650 before you upgrade them. It goes up to, I think, like 800 or close to 800 once they're fully upgraded. So there's a big difference between an STG 45 and like an STG 44. That being said, I don't actually think that they're as bad as some people make them out to be. I think the real kicker for why I wouldn't get them is that they're a premium assault squad. And I don't like premium assault squads. They're 5-man squads. 4 of them are assaulters. 1 of them is an engineer. They all get assault weapons, whether it's SMGs or assault rifles or whatever. It depends on the BR, it depends on the squad. In all cases, I just don't think that they're worth it because you're missing out on 2 dudes. You have effectively the same amount of assault rifles or submachine guns that you can get in a normal squad. For example, with the Germans, you can put a sniper and 4 assaulters in an assault squad and have 5 assault rifles. Or you can take like 4 assaulters and a medic and give them all submachine guns. So they all 5 SMGs, right? So you don't have the same kind of lasting ability that other squads do. And instead of getting the STG-45 squad, you can instead get the Krieghoff FG squad, and you're going to have 1 more dude. You're going to be able to deploy anywhere on the map, anytime, wherever you're needed, and you can pick up a kit when you land to accomplish whatever objectives you need. Like, if the enemy's sitting there in tanks and your team can't deal with them, you can drop in, pull out Panzerfausts, bye-bye tank. If the enemy is just no tanks, just hordes of infantry, you can drop in, grab the MG42s, now you've got a makeshift machine gun team. Or let's say your team is bogged down, there's like a creek that they can't get across. You can drop in on the flank, pull out the engineer squad with the mortars, build a spawn point, and now your team has a flanking spawn point, right? Like there's just so much flexibility when it comes to the machine or the paratroopers, and like you could just have an assault squad. And I don't know, maybe you like them for their historic value. I'm pretty sure they're meant to be like a Hitler Youth SS unit. Um, and the STG-45 is kind of cool because it's like a last-ditch STG. It's got like a plywood stock and all that. So, I mean, for coolness factor, for historical value, they're kind of neat. Um, I would not recommend them though. Now, moving on to the other squad that I personally picked up. This is the SVD-30 squad. They're one of the two rocket artillery squads. Um, Basically, the reason why I like them is because effectively this is a BR2 semi-automatic sniper squad. It's cool that they can call in rocket artillery. I really don't care. Like, rocket artillery is a gimmick. It's a meme. It's not really that different than normal artillery. It sounds cool. It basically looks the same, but it sounds cool. And for 1250 for a BR2 squad, that's really not bad. I think they make a good addition to a BR2 lineup. They're going to be a 5-man squad. I think that they're pretty flexible in that they have scoped semi-auto rifles at BR2, but the thing is, you can use your half aim to aim down their normal sights, so you can still kind of assault buildings with them. They have like 5-round magazines. I'll probably put out a video specifically talking about them, but just from like a surface level, I think they look pretty good. But it really comes down to them having scoped rifles. That's why I'm interested in them. So they get my seal of approval, tentatively. Their counterpart is the Walther A115 squad. These guys are BR3. They're a radio squad that can call in rocket artillery. And that's about where my interest in them ends. I think the Walther A115 seems like a cool rifle, but I don't feel like it actually brings anything to the table that isn't already available. Like, you can already get Gewehr 41s at BR3, Gewehr 43s at BR4. I don't know. I just don't feel like they bring anything to the table. Like, if they were scoped rifles at BR2, yeah, I'd probably be interested in them. Like, 12.5 really isn't that bad for a premium squad, so if you're just looking for something to pick up, they probably will serve you well. They just, I don't know, they don't feel like they add anything that I don't already have in the tech tree. And I feel like you can get to BR3 pretty quickly, and you can get a radio squad, and you can put Gewehr 41s on there. Sure, you can't call in rocket artillery, but like I said, I feel like rocket artillery is kind of a meme. I don't think it really matters or is significant. And the main reason why I picked up their counterpart is to get scoped semi-automatic rifles at BR2, because that's not something that you can do. Like, the Soviets do have access to a BR3 scoped semi-auto rifle. They have one at BR4. The Germans already have the BR3, like, boogeyman sniper squad that I think they all have scoped, like, Gewehr 41s or 43s or whatever. So, again, I just don't feel like they add anything significant to me, but you might actually find value in them. They're a radio squad, so they're not going to be terrible. They do have some depth because they have multiple radio operators. I just don't think they do anything special. Moving on to the Panzerwerfer. This is kind of going to be like the Calliope, but more niche. So it's not bad. I do have it. It's very good at clearing out infantry, but you have to go into it with the caveat that it's hyper-focused in dealing with infantry, and sometimes the rockets do okay against tanks, but generally speaking, they don't. And you're at BR4, you don't have a whole lot of ammo. You don't have a whole lot of ability to traverse the rocket pod, because, it's on the back of a half-track. Like, it's rocket artillery. It's not really designed to be a direct fire, brawling vehicle. So if you go into it expecting it to do anything other than clear infantry, you're going to have a bad time. And then even then, it's not the most comfortable vehicle to use, but it's really, really ridiculously cool because you're firing these big 150 mil fuck off rockets that just destroy infantry. So at BR4, I think it's cool. I usually run it at BR5. I usually take it as a second vehicle. It usually isn't my primary vehicle, and it's usually not my only vehicle. Um, but I think it's a cool vehicle. So I don't think it's a bad pickup. I think it's just something that you have to go in understanding its limitations, and if you expect it to be like the Ubermensch and destroy the Allies and push the Americans back off the beaches into the sea, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. Sometimes it will literally push them back into the sea, though, so, sometimes it works. Moving on, we have the AS-44 squad. These guys are exactly the same as the STG squad, except they have different guns. So their gun itself is a lot better than the STG-45, but you're getting what's effectively a tech tree gun. Like back before the tech tree AS-44s came out, you might have been able to make an argument for them. They're still a 5-man assault squad, and I don't like 5-man assault squads. Nowadays, you can get the AS-44 in the tech tree, and the one in the tech tree has a bayonet. This one has a bipod, so if bipod versus bayonet matters to you, maybe, but I would personally avoid them. Moving on from there, we have the flamethrower Panzer II. Now, this used to come with Stalingrad. That's why I have it. It's a really fun little vehicle that you can pull out. You are very vulnerable, though. Like, everything that looks at you will kill you. But sometimes you can get into a fun position and you can light things on fire. The other thing is this is the only way to get flamethrowers at BR2. So there's a Russian premium tank that's the mirror to this. There's this one, and then there's the Tech Tree Stuart for the Americans. And all of them are the only way to get flamethrowers at BR2. All of them are really fun. They're all really cool. If you've played the Americans and you like the way the Stuart plays, you might like this. The Stuart has a proper tank cannon on it, though. This does not. This has a machine gun in the turret, and it's got the 2 little flame projectors on the corners of the tank. So you may find value in it. Just go into it understanding that this is a very vulnerable vehicle, and it will get destroyed by everything that wants to kill it. But it can also be pretty fun. It's kind of going to be match dependent, though. If the other team is on their A game at destroying tanks, you're going to have a miserable time with it, because you do have to play it in very aggressive positions, because flamethrowers just don't have a ton of range. It's not something that I wouldn't recommend. It's just also something that I wouldn't recommend. So, like, basically, how do I, like, I'm not telling you to not get it the way that I would with, like, the assault squads. Like, I wouldn't get the assault squads. I would get the flamethrower tank, but you have to go into it understanding that the flamethrower tank is kind of a meme vehicle. I just think it's really cool because it's a meme vehicle. Moving on from there, there's the Ersatz M10. This is a Panther that is designed to look like an M10. It's from the Battle of the Bulge. When they were trying to break through American lines and they disguised things. From like a historical standpoint, it's a really cool vehicle. From a gameplay standpoint, it's fine. It's like the best premium German tank you're going to have access to right now. If the Jagdpanther ever comes back, I would recommend that over everything else in the game for every nation. But unfortunately, it has gone the way of the Dodo and it's not available. This is, however, available, and if you like Germany and you want a German tank, this really is your only, like, high BR option, and it's probably going to do fine. Like, it looks cool. It's probably going to do fine. It's a Panther. Panthers generally perform fine. just understand that Panthers can get penetrated by a lot of different things that they run into. So sometimes you're going to spawn in, you're going to die instantly. Other times you're going to spawn in, and you'll be able to ride around the map and do your thing and blow up everybody who gets in front of you. It's just the way Enlisted plays. Most tanks are basically glass cannons in this game just because of the prevalence of anti-tank weapons. So if you run into a team that wants to destroy you, you're going to have a bad time. If you run into a team that doesn't want to destroy you, you're probably going to have a pretty good time. But it is a Panther, so it can go toe-to-toe with pretty much any other tank in the game. So I would recommend it. Moving on from there, we're going to ignore the starter packs. I don't really see the value in them. Like, they're probably not bad value for $2.50, but like, I also feel like they're new player bait. You basically get a bunch of non-premium stuff, and then you get 3 days of premium and some gold. So the premium time and the gold might actually be worth it just for that. But like medic kits and like 4-star soldiers and guns and all that, like that's all stuff that's just free for silver in game. Let me make sure I hit everything else here. Oh, you know what? So the German half track is actually here. I'm just blind. So I'm sure somebody will comment on my inability to read basic things. The Japanese one I still don't see though. So there is that. So the last one on this page is going to be the Type 97 Chiha. Now I believe that they've had event versions of this before. I have driven my friends' Chihas. They're very good in my opinion. It gets heat, and heat generally performs better than anything else when it comes to like being a general purpose tank shell in this game. In part, I feel like heat is the best anti-infantry round in the game, as stupid as that sounds. But also, for a lot of the like BR2 guns, the heat shell does perform pretty well as an anti-tank round as well. You're going to be kind of limited in your commander sight because of the bar going around the top. It's fine though. You're really there for the main gun, and the main gun, it's going to perform similarly to the short 75 if you've played any of the BR2 German tanks with the short 75, in that you get a fairly rapid fire cannon, it fires heat, and it'll pretty much kill whatever infantry you shoot near. Like 57 mils is a little bit smaller, but at least in my experience borrowing my friend's tank, it seems like it works pretty well. I can't complain about it. So if you're playing low BR Japan and you want a tank, I think that this is an excellent acquisition. Like every other tank, though, you are very vulnerable to being destroyed, so keep that in mind. So you do have to play kind of safe. Moving on to the second page. Here we're going to see the Russian flame tank, all the same that I mentioned about the German one. It's kind of a meme vehicle. It's pretty cool. I like it. Just understand that. Looking at the Type 1 SMG squad, they're fine. It's an assault squad, so everything that I've said about assault squads before is true about them. They're like BR3. I don't know. As far as a premium assault squad goes, they're fine. They have like similar analogs to this gun in the tech tree. I just don't like assault squads. Your mileage may vary. You guys might like assault squads. I just find that they burn out very quickly. Like, as soon as you research a BR3 assault squad in game, this squad becomes pointless because you now have a 7-man assault squad with specialists. 4 of them can take guns that are very similar to this, if not better. So, I don't know. I don't like assault squads. The Kachi is a huge meme vehicle. If you want a meme vehicle, this is the meme of meme vehicles. It's a BR1 amphibious tank, and when I call it a boat, I mean it is a fucking boat. Like, it's huge, it's slow, it's a piece of shit, but it floats in water. I'm pretty sure the gun is like a 37. I don't know. It's a or 47. It's a small gun. It doesn't feel like the gun does a whole lot. And to be entirely honest, this is what my mechanized infantry were before half tracks existed. And they're still outfitted that way. And from time to time, I still use them that way. Basically, you have like a 7-man crew. I gave them all submachine guns. I gave them all like assault grenades and med kits, and basically we drive to the front and we shoot at the enemy with the Kachi until we get to the front, and then we get out and we're a 7-man premium assault squad. So if that's something that interests you, if you want to just use this thing as a battle bus to get a 7-man squad to the front, they're not assaulters, so they don't get the same kind of perk layout as assaulters. But if you want to use it like a Bradley or like a BMP, that's basically the way I look at this. As like a tank, I think it's terrible. But as as a like fake Bradley BMP kind of thing, I've actually had a lot of fun with it. Like having 7 dudes hop out with SMGs and like gas grenades and explosive packs and katanas and all, the whole kit, right? It could actually be pretty fun. But Japanese tanks for the most part aren't that great. If you want a Japanese tank like a low BR one, just get the one from the previous page. Like, it's just going to be a better tank. So moving on from there, there's the Greyhound. Um, it's BR1. I don't have it. I don't really have an interest in it. Like, it's cool. It looks cool. It's open topped. It's got like a 37 mil cannon. I would probably not get it personally. Like, for 1075, I think you could just get the American half track squad and you'd probably have a much better experience. But if you're bound and determined to get a tank to play at low BR, eh, no. Because the M8A1's available. I would just get the M8A1. Well, it's BR2, but okay, if you have to play at BR1, then I guess this is your only option. But it's not something I would normally get. Then moving on, these two are kind of together. The M8A1 actually is pretty cool, and I actually think it's probably a pretty good pickup. So the thing is, you're going to be BR2, but you're getting the 75 mil cannon off of a Sherman at BR2. And normally Shermans are BR3. And I'm pretty sure the Grant is still like BR2. And the Grant does have a 75, and it does have a lot of armor, and so it's a lot harder to dislodge. This is a much more mobile vehicle, and so it's not going to have that kind of armor. But, I mean, it's a mobile Sherman gun at BR2. I feel like this is probably a really good vehicle. Like, I imagine it's extremely vulnerable because you're open topped. Anybody can throw anything into the roof of your tank. I feel like you might have a bad time with it, but it seems like a pretty cool vehicle. It's something I might pick up. I'm not sure. It seems kind of memey, but I don't think it'll be a bad pickup for like 1250 at BR2. Counter to that, there's the Panzer 1, the little mini Tiger. This one, I don't know about. Like, it's got a 50 mil cannon. The problem is at BR2, Germany has a lot of really good premium tanks. They're not all available right now, but anytime that the Panzer IV-E premium is available, it's got a short 75 with heat, so it demolishes. The Tunisian Panzer III-N with a short 75, it recently got updated to have a small amount of heat, so it's got like APCBC, HE, and heat, and it's got a machine gun on the roof, so it performs pretty well. In the game, if you look at Germany, there's the Panzer IV-M or Panzer III-M, and this is, I think, a gold vehicle, so yeah, it's a gold vehicle. but you're going to get a long 50 mil, and you're going to have actual armor, so I feel like it's probably better. I feel like this is just a neat little meme vehicle. I don't think that it's something that I would actually go and get. Like, I just feel like it's going to be outperformed by most of the other German alternatives. Moving on from there, there's the LVT A1. This is the American counterpart to the Japanese tank. I would tentatively avoid it, but to be honest, it might be better than the Greyhound. The armor is going to be a little bit better. The Greyhound's going to be more mobile. This is still sort of open-topped because of the machine gun positions, but it's not really open-topped. And it is amphibious, so it does have, like, extra use cases in the Pacific. I would probably pick it up over the Greyhound, but I probably would avoid either of them. I just think that they're better choices. Like, again, you could pick up the half-track squad. Like, if it's going to be your only premium squad, I would get the half-track squad because it's a few bucks more. You can use it at every BR. The American one is still going to be amphibious. So, closing it out with the Fedorov MG squad, there was a point in time back in the day where these guys seemed like they would be really cool because they used to be a Moscow squad, and they were basically heavy Fedorovs in Moscow, so it was cool. These days, however, if we look at them in-game, they're like BR5. Here they are. BR5. Well, the normal Fedorov is also BR5. Except these are 5-men. That's not what I wanted to do. These are a 5-man premium squad, so they basically feel like an assault squad to me. Like, yes, it's a machine gun squad. Yeah, you've got 2 engineers, because this is the Russian analog to the MG42 early. And yes, you can build heavy machine guns. However, you're getting these Fedorovs that have this big-ass bipod thing, which I really don't like. If it was folded up, I would like it more. They've got the barrel shroud, which is kind of neat. But, like, I don't think that they should be BR5. And that alone makes me completely lose interest in them. Like, if these were, like, I don't know, BR3 machine gun team, where they took the penalty for moving and shooting because they've got all this extra shit stuck to the barrel that makes it heavier, I could live with that. I think they would be a decent pickup at BR3. At BR5, though, it's like, just use the normal Fedorov automat. Okay, you don't have the normal Fedorov automat. I would get the paratroopers then. I know they're not on sale, but they're going to be better. Okay, you want a machine gun team? I would get the belt-fed DPs. Again, I feel like they're just going to be better. Or get the SVD-30 squad at BR2. Or get the half-track squad that is on sale right now, because it's just going to be better. You're going to get a 6-man squad. 2 of them can have machine guns. This is a squad that I would avoid. Like, part of me wants to pick them up for myself just to use them and see if my opinion is, like, correct. I feel like it is, though. So, that basically runs through everybody. Premium time is not on sale. I don't think I've ever seen gold go on sale, so yeah, that's basically the entire autumn sale for what's available right now. TLDR, if you only want to watch like 20 seconds of this video, pick up paratroopers, pick up half tracks, maybe pick up one of the tanks if you're interested, but paratroopers, half tracks, those are the 2 that you want. So let me know what you think down below. Let me know what your acquisitions are. One of my buddies was talking to me about potentially getting the Winchester and the little super Scott thing, the M8A1. So if he does, I'll definitely talk to him about them and see how he likes them. My acquisitions were the Type PA LMG squad and the SVD-30 squad, so expect some sort of content involving them at some point in the not so far off future. But let me know if you picked up anything. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said. As per usual, get out there, kick ass, take names, and win your games.